I'm Margaret in Windsor. I didn't mean to I meant to not put up any more videos today. I'm tired, and what's going on here, I'm just about, I guess you can tell by looking at me. Um, I did want to make this comment though, and I put this up on YouTube and Facebook, but it's been a long time, and I don't know how I'd have to go through a lot of videos to find where I put it up. Hasn't been all that long ago, but anyway, I hear where Bob Woodward has a new book out, and in it he's calling President Trump paranoid and all these derogatory terms and how unfit and all this bunch of crap. I don't know. President Trump may be a double, in that I don't mean he's really Trump, but that I don't know. I hope he's not part of the Illuminati like the whole other bunch of them are. Freemasons, the Congress, all of them. And if not, why haven't they acted? So now I want to get back on this. Back when John Hinckley shot President Reagan, and God knows I hope that whole trip that I made with the book, and no money, and copies of the FBI and where I'd written the book and all this was on it. And it was signed in to the White House mailroom. And Michael Reagan, the adopted son, was the one that logged it in. Well, it gets into a whole horrific thing there, going back to Atlanta and what happened to me. I wanted to get into this, though. While I was up there, I believe the first time, and it was so horrible to be put on the street in Washington, D.C. with nowhere to go and nobody to call. Anyway, I did find a place to stay for a week, I believe, up there. And during that time, I went to Washington Post. And I had typed up and taken with me where I'd done the book. And I was telling about in the research of mind control about Phillip Graham, her husband, being on one of the communication satellites. And what was it? Oh gosh, I forget the name of it. But then you get into finding out he was also on the communication satellite over in the UK, which he should not have been. So now he has supposedly committed suicide, and he was on those committees with all these other people on. I wish I could think of the name of it now. Anyway, I go in. I'm thinking, Mrs. Graham, you've heard all this and about the movie. What was it? All the President's Men. I'm sure that came out prior to then. That would have been in 1981 or 82, early 82 maybe. Anyway, I went in the front door of the Washington Post, and the man behind the information desk was a black man, and he started talking to me, and he said, well, you can't go up and see her. He said you have to have a pass or have a reporter come down and get you, or you can talk to him maybe. Anyway, a woman came up on cue and right beside me and said, well, Mrs. Graham's on the certain floor. So I'm going there if I can. So I go up with the reporter. I remember he did the role playing like when I worked for the District Attorney Simpson's office in '80, where Thomas Jefferson, one of the attorneys there in the office, put his shoes up on the table while he called me in there. The only time he ever called me in his office, and which is quite odd. You don't do that. Okay, it meant something to me. Later, I'm over in Atlanta, back there. Okay, this would have been late 82. And I'm down at the Fulton County Courthouse. And what's his name? Don't let me forget. The district attorney was such a friend of... gosh, I've forgotten her name now. I haven't seen her in a long time, her program. Anyway, she was an attorney there. Well, I can't remember. It was 1980 anyway. I went in there about the Wayne Williams murders and some others, and I was going to talk to the Fulton County district attorney. Instead, they let me have his associate or the next person, attorney, next to him, deputy attorney. When I went in, he put his feet up, just like I'm talking about put your feet up and cross your feet in the desk, and you're sitting there. I don't even know if he asked me to sit down there. I think he did. He spoke with me, and he didn't say anything derogatory to me, like he didn't believe me or anything, but I walked out the door, and lo and behold, the district attorney is right a couple doors down. He's got the door open, and he's leaning against it like he's waiting on me, looking right at me, yet I've been told he can't see me. This is about like that same time period in Atlanta, and I'm walking, it's cold, and all this has happened, and I walked into the U.S. Attorney's office where I'd gotten the letter from the FBI, William Harper. Okay, now then, Baker was his assistant DA. I walked, district attorney, yeah, United States district attorney. I walked up there. I'd been there before some years ago. I had. And he was standing there, but Mr. Baker was the assistant U.S. attorney there. He was standing there at this little information, looked like an information desk, and nobody else was there but him. And he said something about, I guess he knew somehow, I didn't. I was going to Florida, and that was a horrible thing that happened, all this mess. Anyway, he said something about, we'll be waiting on you. I can't remember his exact words, and I walked out. And why am I telling you this? I'm trying to show you when I was up about the reporter that took me up. He did the same role-playing thing, put his feet up and crossed them on the desk in front of me. Then he said something about, well, I'm supposed to get a security guard to escort you back down to the front door. Instead, he just showed me the elevator there. Well, you know what I'm going to do. I go directly up to the floor that they told me that Mrs. Graham's on. I carry my typed information, and I'm sure I put a letter, if I still had it then, the FBI and all this book and everything. And I'm thinking she'll be happy to hear about her husband and what the suicide wasn't suicide, it was by mind control. And I thought they were the good guys, and little did I know. So anyway, a few minutes later, out comes security guard, big burly fella, and he escorted me out the door and down and out the front door. Okay? So, take from it just that, and what I've learned later. I will say this, just as I got going out the door after he pushed me out the door, the black man that was behind the information desk was coming in the door. Now he's coming in the door at me as I'm leaving, and he said, "We will see you later." Well, that's never happened. But I'm doing this in response to Woodward, Bob Woodward, saying the nasty things, paranoid, accusing the president of being paranoid, which is a total lie. And it just, that's the way that they can discredit someone and it'll stick. Why, they're nuts, they're crazy, they might be the best person on the face of this earth. But once someone like that especially puts a label on them, I can't understand why people are, if they are buying this crap that's being thrown at them. I'm going to tell you who needs locked up. They need to go handcuff the press, lock their up from way back. Of course, way back there in the grave now, and they can't be punished. Because this has been a whole total lie. And, I don't know, there may be a chance that I'm fooled and Trump is part of the Illuminati. I hope not. I hope not. I was doing the book about mind control and all this, and they're just now telling some of this morning on NBC. They're not mentioning me. But why suddenly are they telling this about chipping people, and is their choice? They've been doing this and not telling people since before 1960, and I know that. God knows it probably goes back to the Tesla files and 30 being stolen. Anyway, the Tesla files, which I started telling about in 76, Larry Flint was shot. I keep saying that because people know Mr. Flint or of him, and he was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, March the 6th, 78, while I was doing the book. But I guess I better quit while I'm ahead here. It's hot in here and I can't use air conditioning. And anyway, I hate to say how bad I feel, but man, I'm getting worked over. I really am. I guess I'll have to be up and gone, and God knows where. What was I saying though? It was about the one way to label a person is say they're paranoid or something. And by the way, that's what all these shooters that are programmed and victims themselves of mind control are labeled, that they're mentally ill, they're unstable, like the Parkland, the Columbine, all the, when really in it, like the well, James Holmes, they actually got him in a mental ward and feeding him psych drugs. And that's the most horrible, horrible abuse of power that has ever, really. So, that's James Holmes, Aurora, Colorado. Anyway, in this, a lot of them are programmed to turn around and shoot themselves, and it appears to be suicide when they're programmed to do so. My question is, it can still be a cover-up and not tell about me because it's so atrocious kidnapping me and what really happened, what was done to my father. Edward the VIII never married Wallace Simpson. You get into this mess with Winston Churchill. Now then, someone that I believe came back on telling me that Winston Churchill fathered the person was secretary back then, but I believe I should go back and check it before I put it up. But that, anyway, the Archbishop there now, his father was Winston Churchill, who at the time, his mother was the secretary of, I guess, the church, yeah. Now the son of Winston Churchill and this woman who was secretary is now the Archbishop, is the way I understood it, and I believe him. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. But to Bob Woodward, I hope Trump's not part of the Illuminati or Freemasons. I hope so. I know that he's taking a lot of heat right now, and it takes a lot to be able to withstand that when everybody's coming at you like they hate your guts and calling you names, and they really are. They should be turning it on Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama, the Illuminati. And yes, they are way up there. And that list has just been released, and 100 of them put on the top people, including Elizabeth, who's illegal anyway. And I keep saying, put her up under oath with a threat of prison if she doesn't tell the truth, perjuring herself.